Hello, welcome back to Firesense Gaming. My name is Ben. Today we're on with Rizia. The last time out, pretty much just signed a whole bunch of bills and then spent a really long time at a meeting at the AN that was, I don't know, it was pretty interesting. I think it's going to definitely set up a whole lot of stuff here going forward. So, let's see, yeah, we got at least one report over here and a whole bunch of newspaper articles. Let's start with this guy. Alright, Ariana Taurus Association leads peaceful protests against Valen's AN decision. In the weeks since Victor Smolak's AN announcement, the Zeal branch of the Ariana Taurus Association has spearheaded a number of peaceful demonstrations, meant to show the Valen government that the citizens of Zeal want to be Rizian once more. The association's spokesperson has vowed the demonstrations will continue until Zeal is returned. Don't know if that's going to help or not. That might cause problems, but we'll see what happens there. Alright, check the news. Let's see, there's just one here from the Royal Herald. Unveiling announcement throws Zeal into confusion. Royal Herald correspondents in Zeal say that the region's population was shocked when Valen President Victor Smolak's announcement that the region would not be returned to Rizia on the agreed-upon handover date. In a move viewed as a serious violation of the bilateral agreement signed in 1926, President Smolak announced in Cairo that due to national security concerns, the Zeal region would remain under Valen's administration indefinitely. Local residents of Zeal, many of whom are of Rizian descent and have been anticipating a reunion with the kingdom, have voiced their disappointment and fear over the sudden shift in policy. The coming days are likely to see intense diplomatic efforts from Rizia and the international community. The people of Zeal, their future hanging in the balance, will be watching closely. Then we have 4 things here from Geopolitico. So, significant reduction of Arkazian military presence in war-torn regions. Arkazi commits to a significant military de-escalation, reducing its troop presence and entrusting operations to Cerberus International and Palantir Security Solutions. This withdrawal indicates a pivot to a strategy of decreased conflict intensity and anticipates the stabilization of once turbulent regions. The move has immediate effects on global markets, with the energy prices showing signs of stabilization, and reflects the diminishing clout of the CSP in key territories like Narashima and Selena. As Arkazi reassesses its foreign military commitments, the repercussions for regional stability and power hierarchies are set to stabilize for now. And Kinal emerges as strategic ATO hub. The Republic of Kinal, strategically nestled at the nexus of crucial maritime corridors and land-based trade routes, has risen to prominence as an indispensable hub for the ATO. This strategic ascendancy comes as the nation deftly capitalized on its geographical advantages, facilitating critical logistics support and serving as a bulwark for military oversight in the volatile regions of North Sheena and South Marcopa. Kinal's enhanced role within the ATO underscores its escalated geopolitical relevance and signifies a shrewd alignment of its national interests with those of the Alliance, cementing its status as a central player in the theater of global diplomacy. Then we got AN Shocker. Valen refuses to relinquish Zeal. At an eventful South Marcopa-focused meeting of the Alliance of Nations, one big takeaway was that Valen is willing to go to extreme lengths to keep hold of the Rizian region of Zeal, including invoking a little-cited AN protocol to delay the expected handover. The Alliance of Nations has not yet challenged Valen President Victor Smolak's announcement, in which he claimed that the national security in Zeal was still too compromised to allow for an orderly transition of the region. Although his decision was highly unusual, President Smolak was well within his legal right to make such an announcement. Whether the international community will support him is another story. And last but not least here, Volksanian Chancellor interrupts AN session. What should have been a calm, peaceful Alliance of Nations session exclusively focusing on the issues of the South Marcopa region turned into a grandstanding platform for Volksanian Chancellor Emir Kagel, who used the opportunity to make multiple interruptions. Hegel was ostensibly present because of his country's new relationship with the Republic of Marela, whose leader Alma Sultana spoke the proceedings. However, he seemed more interested in weighing in on Pelasian-Rizian relations, with one particular outburst directed at Pelasian Grand Duke Axel Reinhardt. We need not remind you that Pelé was once Volgish territory, and that Chancellor Hegel's interruptions may not have been entirely altruistic. I don't think they're altruistic at all, but alright. Coolio. Alright, let's see here. So, let's head to Port Jazan here first for a public transportation inefficiency crisis. And then actually we have a new thing in the city information, so let's check that first. Oh, cool, it's just the Romus Source Hospital. Okay, that's not new, we've had that for a little bit. Alright, let's take a look at this. Rizia's public transportation system is grappling with an efficiency crisis, strained by burgeoning demands and passenger numbers. Transportation officials are pushing for urgent action, highlighting the need for increased funding and modernization. The government must decide between investing in infrastructural improvements, technological upgrades, or exploring an alternative transit solution. The outcome will crucially impact the daily lives of Rizians and the efficiency of urban mobility. Alright, so I guess I don't have to do anything about it right now. I'm just acknowledging that it's a problem. So let's go with that. The Rizian infrastructure network is our backbone. So I think that means I'm just committing to upgrading the infrastructure. So is that somewhere here in the Royal Decrees that I missed? Oh, yep, right there. Investment in public transport infrastructure. Cool. Alright. I definitely don't have enough money for that right now, but alright, I'll definitely want to try to work on that later. Cool. And let's head to Kaluz. So, there's a report. A vital rail link fails. Due to a technical issue affecting a vital railroad switch near Kaluz, train traffic between Portrazon and Monkeys has been cut. While the issue is likely to be resolved within a few days, the closure of the vital railway is affecting not just passenger traffic, but also the transport of goods between Monkeys' harbor and the rest of the country. Fantastic. So yes, I definitely need to try to upgrade that as soon as I can. Alright, let's see here. Now we have a Romus the Red wine launch event. Let's check it out. In the fertile fields of Kaluz, the Contuavo vineyards were among the oldest in Rizia. They are run by a revered winemaking family now in the 5th generation, who had long ago been awarded noble status for the fine wines that provided the kingdom. Tonight, they invited my family and councilor for the ceremonial uncorking of their latest vintage, Romus the Red. Bottled on my coronation day, it is now ready for drinking. I wished I was in more of a celebratory mood. Valen's announcement that the AN had plunged the country into panic. I was besieged by demands to take action to get Zeal back. For now, all I had to do was open a wine bottle, but even that was politicized. Hugo had stressed the importance of keeping the Contuavo family loyal to our house. Our motorcade rolled up to the vineyard entrance, where a festival tent decorated in blue, white, and gold of the Rizian flag had been set up. After a thorough security sweep, my mother, Stella, Vina, Hugo, and I proceeded to our table. Pablo smoothly approached and poured us glasses of sparkling water. I had the pleasure of supervising the pre-tasting with the vineyard staff. I must say, the family has truly outdone themselves this time. It's named after me, it better be good. Honestly, it's a good fit for you. It's light on the palate at first, but has hidden depth. My mother smiled wryly. Hidden depths indeed. That sounds perfect, Mr. Archer, but please stick to conservative pours for His Majesty. It's unbecoming of a king to get intoxicated at these functions. Lucina, Elena, and Lorento walked past us and were seated at the table next to ours. All three were dressed more festively than the simple formal wear they wore to council meetings, but Lucina's slinky, intricately beaded yellow gown was particularly eye-catching. My mother turned to me and muttered under her breath. Oh my, the mountains of Montclar are on full display tonight. Good lord. Nah, you're just jealous from what someone else's outfit is better than yours. Vina stifled a giggle. I still don't understand what we're doing here, especially with all that's been going on. Politics, Your Highness. In case our foreign situation escalates, we will require the support of House Taurus and our home province more than ever. I know they're not happy with my dealings with Swordland. They don't hold the Republic or citizens in particularly high regard, no. But more pressing is Valen's announcement regarding Zeal. You have to reassure them that their assets will remain stable. The rest of the attendees began filing in. There was a small elite crowd comprising barons and baronesses, viscounts, and CEOs from around the region. They bowed as they passed the table, but some of their smiles seemed ungenuine. I thought I heard someone whisper sword lover. Stella flashed me a look of warning. There's no pleasing these people, darling. Better to ignore them. After everyone had settled in, the head of the winery gave a short opening greeting, then welcomed me onto the stage. I stepped behind the microphone. A magnum-sized bottle of Romus the Red stood on the table behind me. Let's try to play him up a little bit. Great citizens of Valenkiris. I am honored to lend my name to this exceptional creation produced by the best winemakers in the country. No, the world. This wine will inspire reverence for the venerable House Taurus and the nation of Rizia in anyone whose lips it touches. Yes, even swords. I heard a few chuckles. I am heartened that so many of you have come here to celebrate tonight, especially in the wake of recent events. I am confident that with your help, Rizia will become stronger than ever. As the most privileged province in Rizia, Valenkiris has a duty to lead the way forward. We should not be scared to look outwards to rekindle our international friendships. Like that which my grandmother formed with the Kingdom of Swordwood. There was a round of polite applause. I couldn't tell what my audience was thinking. I promise that if we open ourselves to new alliances, untold prosperity will be our reward. The attendees applauded slightly more loudly. For now, we'll bear witness to the miracles that the Contuavo family have worked with the humble grape. I heard cheers as a representative of the winery handed me a ceremonial corkscrew and a glass. I'm gonna go with this one, honestly, why not? As a symbol of unity, Duchess Lucida of House Azara will uncork the first bottle. With a stunned yet delighted expression, Lucida took the stage. An assistant quickly procured 2 glasses. My war council opened the bottle and poured us each a small amount. Let's go with that one. Blovurius Axarizia. We clinked glasses and drank. It was delicious. A light, refreshing taste gradually developed into a darker and more complex finish. There was a final round of applause as Lucida and I stepped off the stage. Pablo and the winery staff began circulating around the tables with wine and food. It was an honor to be called on stage, Your Majesty, although I'm sure your relations weren't happy with the choice. It was a strategic move. I need your house's favor more than mine. News travels fast. The other Azaras will be. She cast a last look at me before returning to her seat. I spent a good several hours mingling with relatives and fellow nobles, posing for photographs with the winemakers and fending off journalists. Every time I attempted to sit down and eat, I was deluged with more requests. My glass, on the other hand, was constantly being refilled. By the end of the evening, I was having some trouble keeping names and faces straight. The tent gradually emptied out as the guests departed. The winery had an attached luxury villa where our delegation had been invited to stay for the night. Hugo, Estella, Vina, and I began saying our final goodbyes before making our way upstairs. And despite the shaky start, I think our fellow guests came away quite happy. I would call this evening a smashing success. With the emphasis on smashing. Vina was clutching my mother's arm, looking half-dazed. I like this old lady making all these little quips, though. It's great. Romus the Red, long may he reign. She hiccuped. That's right, darling. Now let's get you to bed. I heard an uproarious burst of laughter from the other side of the room. My 3 counselors were still at the table. Lucida's eyes were sparkling as she regaled the other 2 with an apparently hilarious anecdote. I'll be right behind you. Just have to say goodnight to my staff. Take your time, sweetheart. She gave me a knowing smile. Vina was too busy attempting to pirouette in her ball gown to register what I'd said. As my family headed out, I walked over to my concert table. And you just stumbled into my bag, so I was stitch on screen. If you wanted to touch yourself, I had you drawn and quartered. Uh, having a good evening, Duchess Cesaro? Oh. She, Lorenzo, and Elena immediately straightened up and stopped laughing. Your Majesty, the Duchess was telling us about the time she hit a commanding officer's fatigues while he was swimming. It was a dare back in basic training. I had to scrub the kitchen floor for 3 weeks, but it was worth it. It's part of a drinking game, Your Majesty, a rather infantile one. Can I play? You think you can handle it, Your Majesty? She had a teasing look in her eyes. I wondered how much she'd had to drink. Parble, some wine for the king, please. Right away, Miss Jessica. Pablo approached the table and gave me a generous pour of Romus the Red. Why don't you play too, Pablo? I detected cautious excitement in his eyes. It would be my pleasure, Your Majesty. He sat down. Lucia rubbed her hands together. Perfect, Pablo. I think we'd all love to learn more about you. Now, have you played Fact or Fiction before? I'm going to assume it's basically just truth or dare. So yes, no need to explain the rules. Great. She gestured to Pablo, who quickly topped up her wine glass. It was just my turn. I'll let His Majesty choose the next player. Let's go with that. Since I missed your story, I think you should take another turn, Duchess Cesaro. Lucina gave me a sly smile. As you wish, Your Majesty. Despite my Azaro heritage, I couldn't stand the sight of blood as a child, and there was a time when I fainted from pricking my own finger. My cousin Zola confided in me that she despised her husband-to-be, so I falsified evidence that he was having an affair with a commoner. The engagement was broken off once. And I have a lucky set of undergarments that I wear to important meetings and military exercises. Lorenzo raised an eyebrow. Intriguing, dear Duchess, but false. Azaros don't fall prey to superstition. If there's one thing Azaros don't do, it's faint the sight of blood. That's the lie. Agreed. I'm afraid the Duchess made this far too easy. No, the blood story is so implausible that it must be true. I have my doubts about your role in the dissolution of your cousin's engagement. Lucida shook her head. Mistress Escabel is right. Now I don't wear lucky underwear on important days. Aw, lame. Pablo, Elena, and I drank. Lucida continued with a mischievous smile on her face. Actually, on such occasion, I find it invigorating to wear nothing at all beneath my uniform. Lorenzo and Elena shot each other amused looks. Pablo politely coughed. Perhaps now would be a good time for Duchess Zara to retire. There's been a great deal of wine flowing tonight. It's Alheim's fun, Pablo, isn't it, Your Majesty? Yes, we all deserve some reprieve from the stiff formalities of royal life. Pablo frowned. My apologies to you both. I was only trying to be helpful. If you'd like to be helpful, you can fetch this new bottle. This one's almost empty. Strew it away, Duchess Zara. He disappeared to the kitchen and came back with more wine. Lucida looked at me expectantly. Alright, why not? Let's go with Elena. Miss Werner, if you please. I still find this childish. In my day, if people wanted to get drunk, they got drunk. But if you insist. She thought for a moment. I have an antique coin collection that's worth more than my house. My late husband and I once undertook a 3-week sailing trip to Gormland and back. And I once had to stop Queen Liza from purchasing a diamond necklace with the Rizia treasury money. I'll go with this one. You didn't really sail to Gormland. I call foul on the Liza story. Her Majesty was beyond such shenanigans. I can believe that Majesty Queen Liza would attempt such a purchase, but not that she would stop it, Miss Werner. Lorenzo grinned and shook his head. This is too easy. If there's one thing you hated more than sailing, it was your dearly departed husband. Elena sighed. Yes, that's right. Lucida and Pablo picked up their glasses, each a healthy sip. Nice. Totally got that one right. So you've got a fortune in antique coins, do you? Ask me anything about marking ducats and resonated medallions. Well done, Miss Verna. Who's next? Just go with old man Lorento. Go ahead, Mr. Escabel. With pleasure. He gave his wine glass a dramatic swirl. When I'm in a diplomatic meeting that I know is trivial, I draw characters instead of taking notes. When I was just out of university, I challenged the men of Salve to a duel. I accidentally shouted, "All hail the new queen," at His Majesty King Valero's coronation. Ew, this one's tricky. I'm gonna go with that one, though. I was at my father's coronation, and I would have heard if anyone shouted queen. It's more plausible than council admitting to the king that he's been failing to take notes at meetings. The duel scenario seems the most far-fetched to me. I've heard the duel story 100 times, Sorrento. You didn't challenge me to Salve. It was Earl of Jale. Sorrento gave her an abashed look. Aw, you know me too well, Miss Verna. Well, guess we gotta drink again. Lucida drained her glass. I followed suit. Elena smirked triumphantly. Now I noted Pablo's slight look of concern. So, what was the duel about? The current heir councilors of Chalet. Neither of us had the nerve to shoot, but he won the grand prize in the end. How anticlimactic, Mr. Escabel. She tapped on her glass. Pablo dutifully refilled it. Who's our next victim? Let's hear from Pablo. My butler gave a graceful nod. Certainly, Your Majesty. He paused to think. My father once made me weed a patch of stinging nettles as punishment for shirking off on duty. Little did he know I rather enjoyed the sensation. I once overheard a Rumburgian royal valet make a demeaning comments about Queen Mother Estella during diplomatic visits. I persuaded our chef to put an excessive amount of pepper in his food at the staff dinner. He looked down at the table. In the 20s, I wrote a poem that stuck with the annual Rizian literary compendium. Pseudonymically, of course. Lucida laughed lightly. There's the fossil. Running a royal household doesn't leave all the time for poetry. The butler's fine descriptions have verged on poetry times. I prefer to believe he doesn't take perverse pleasure in stinging nettles. And I'd rather not believe the story about the Rumburgian valet, as hilarious as it might have been. I'm actually go this one. Why not? You don't like stinging nettles, Pablo? No one does. Pablo smiled grimly. Correct. That was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Wait, I want to know more about this poem. There's not much to know, Your Majesty. It was many years ago. Lucida cleared her throat. I think we're forgetting something. She turned to Lorento, and the two clinked glasses and drank. My foreign counselor had a contemplative look on it. Look as he put his glass down. I read that compendium regularly. What was your pseudonym? It isn't important. Oh wait, let me guess. Paul Adair from 1929. I was the shadow to your light, the silent witness to the burden you bore. A chasm yawns between us now, eager to be filled with touch. Let's see, like two rising tides beneath the setting sun, we are pulled back to each other with a force that knows no bounds. And just as the velvet embraced in light claims the day's end, your fire consumes me, my heart It was interrupted by a sudden clatter coming from Pablo's direction, and everyone turned to look at my butler. Forgive me, I dropped my wine glass, so I'll have it cleaned up at once. It turned away to signal a winery staff member. Silence descended around our table. Well, whichever past lady wrote that for is one lucky girl. Shall we continue? Well, I guess it's my turn. I'll give it a go myself, if you don't mind. My councilors look at each other with no small amount of excitement. I could feel my head spinning. I racked my brain for ideas. Alright. I have a birthmark on my chest in the exact shape of the Palais Administrative Districts. Couple of these, or both of these sound pretty good. I got this one. My great-grandfather, King Shavi II, never actually had a mustache. I drew one on his royal portrait a long time ago. I was having trouble concentrating. I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. I feel so goddamn lonely all the time. The others exchanged troubled looks. Lorento cautiously spoke up. Of course you're not lonely with your family in the past, Your Majesty. That was the lie. The others quickly nodded their assents. I could see Lucida scrutinizing me closely. No, that was the truth. There was a palpable feeling of tension in the air. My table mates consciously avoided looking at me or each other. So, what was the lie, Your Majesty? I didn't realize that I wasn't going to be able to pick a lie for the third one, so that's fine. Let's just go with that. Y'all guessed wrong. Why aren't you drinking? Sita and the others quickly joined their glasses. Pablo cleared his throat. Your Majesty, you have a long day ahead of you tomorrow. Why don't we adjourn? But we're just getting to the good stuff. Lorena pushed back his chair. This Elder Statesman is going to call in the evening, Your Majesty. Thank you for an enlightening time. Yes, we all learned a great deal, possibly too much. Sita shook her head. The more intimately we know each other, the better we can fight as a team. It's an old army trick. Shall I escort you to your quarters, Your Majesty? Yes, thank you. My councilors and I said our goodbyes to disperse to the rooms they were staying in. I suddenly became acutely aware of how much wine I'd had to drink. Pablo helped keep me steady as we made our way upstairs to my suite. He swiftly ushered me inside and took off my coat. The butler's quarters here are connected by an adjoining door. Just knock if you need me. Pablo walked over to the side of the room. He paused with his hand on the doorknob. So, that poem, those feelings. It was a very long time ago, Your Majesty. He turned the knob. It's fine, Pablo. I won't tell a soul. Relief blossomed across Pablo's face. He bowed. Thank you. Needless to say, I hope this means my secrets are also safe with you. He looked me in the eye and nodded. Absolutely, Your Majesty. Good night. He rushed out, closing the door behind him. With some difficulty, I undressed and crawled into bed. I was just starting to drift off to sleep when a soft knock came at the door. Let's just answer it. I went to the door and opened it. Lucida was standing there, still dressed in the beaded gown she'd worn earlier. Your Majesty, I've just received a message of great importance from Valen Intelligence. May I come in? Of course, Duchess Zaro. Lucida walked into my suite. I followed her in and closed the door. As soon as it had shut, she stepped towards me. There was a look of urgency in her eyes. I'll just do that. I took her hands and pulled her closer. We stood still for a moment regarding each other. People will talk. We're alone. Everyone else has passed out. Who's going to say anything? I'll go with that one. I don't want this to be the way we get together. Let me take you on a proper date. She looked confused. I am right here. Isn't this more efficient? But whatever you say. Until next time, then. She gave a flustered bow and left the room. I shut the door and got back into bed. I slept more soundly than I had in months. Ooh, alright. That was fun. Alright, but that also feels like probably as good a place as any to come call for today. So, as always, thank you very much. Hope to see y'all next time.